Okay.
We're live.
We will start with our committee meeting, and I think I'll turn it over to Mitch for codification review.
Yeah, thought we would make a little bit of progress.
Okay,
And
let's do it.
Make a little bit of progress. You take one and pass it.
Oh, take one of these, okay.
Yeah, take one of these and pass it.
Well, I guess we could have left one for Natalie in a moment then.
She's not gonna be good.
My old job, cover that one of these and two big guys. We're still working. Works. Oh, God.
So, we have divvied up the code book with everyone. And I haven't gotten through everyone's feedback yet, but we wouldn't probably have enough time to go through everyone's. But I thought we could get started going through some of the comments that we got back from some of you all. And get closer to sending back the company our changes that we want made in our final code book to then adopt ourselves. And so I've got Mike and Christina's comments here that we can go through real quick.
Did you find mine on your desk?
No. There's a lot of pieces on my desk.
Okay, I thought I set it there on the day he was gone, before, one day last week. I laid it at the front of your desk.
Okay, I'll go. Well, I got a lot of papers.
See if I
so
didn't get
haven't
it
took
covered.
stock of what all my papers are yet.
Okay, I'll double check my desk to think I dreamt it or not too.
And so I printed off the section for Christina's because Mike's section, Mike didn't find many issues, right, with your section.
Oh no, I was the only one.
Yeah, mine was kind of lame.
You had a colorful section
Sorry.
with alcohol use
I
and
was gonna say
minors.
mine was good for you, girl.
Um,
Mine is very small too. Mine are just name changes.
But I wanted to go through some of them, just talk about some of them with Christina, and then for some of them that we might want to see which ones we might want to make changes now or put on a list to talk about later, at a later time.
And some of these might just be, I don't even remember what I wrote now, but some of them might just be talking through so that I understand what they even mean. Some of them weren't super clear.
Yeah. So on the chapter 45, so I've given you the sections for that Christina reviewed and then the comments. The chapter 45, the alcohol consumption.
This just read to me like it meant parents could give their kids alcohol at any age.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that is true or it's just written. I thought the age was 21 regardless of where you are. I don't know if Eric has one.
Extras.
Yeah, you can take hers.
I just have that one,
Since she's
but
not here, we can share it.
nope. Chapter 45, it says, except in the case of any alcohol beverage given or dispensed to a person under legal age within the private home and with the knowledge, presence, and consent of a parent or guardian. So it reads to me like you can drink under 21 as long as your parents know about it and give it to you.
In your home.
I always
That's
thought that was
No, I
true,
didn't
but I
know
didn't
that.
know that
Really?
for a fact.
Wow.
I did not know that. At any age, like there's no, like
Well-
18 to 21, it could be at any age.
I always thought if it was you were in your house and your parents
If
said,
you're
have
in-
at
if
it.
you're on your property, whether it be your home or wherever that you own in the state of Iowa, and you give your child consent to drink, they can drink. However,
Huh.
I've always
depending on
been
your
secretive
age,
with
I
my
mean, if
kids,
you're
like,
like
you can
6, you're on the risk of getting the child endangerment charge.
Oh,
But I mean,
Right.
technically, you
Although-
can let your child drink.
if you're at a friend's house
Then it's a problem.
and your kid's there with their kid, Now that family that owns it can give permission, can that family that's there give permission to let them drink?
For their child only,
For
right?
their child.
You can
Only
only,
the people that reside there.
Correct.
Okay, just
Now, if
clarifying that.
you're present at their house and you're giving your child permission to drink, the county attorney's never gonna prosecute it. But
Okay, but it's
by
illegal.
law, it's.
By law, they
technically
shouldn't do it.
I didn't know.
Okay, see, I didn't either.
I've always whispered in my kids' ear, like, listen, if you're gonna do it, I'd rather you do it at home. And I didn't have to whisper it.
No, I
Like,
mean,
Better to do it at home than outside, right? I mean, no one's taking me up on it, but.
Wait
Okay.
till I'm home so I can join you.
Right?
And the other one I wanted to do, question you all on was the comment that Christine had on 46.03 minors in billiard rooms.
Oh, yeah, we need to probably
well,
update
we
that.
no longer have a billiard room in Glenwood at the moment.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Well,
We
I
didn't know we didn't know what it pertained to or what the,
would the courthouse has
I mean,
billiards in, they have pool tables, is that considered a billiard room?
I wouldn't consider it a billiard room, I'd consider it a bar.
A bar,
which then
okay.
your alcohol regulations about minors being in there after a certain time kicks in. Anyway,
yeah,
So we probably need to do something with
Didn't
that
know
one.
if we.
Either
needed-
define billiard room
Yeah,
or,
you could keep it in there because if one opens, then
Right, that's just what I was thinking about,
Oh,
the time to
'cause
get rid of
somebody
it.
open up-
Somebody's gonna open one, then we start
or
all
no, just
over.
to define what it is so that it's not just a
yeah.
bar
I know
that
what it
has
is.
a billiard. I don't know, if a bar, like, remember the bowling alley, how they had the separate room that had the pool table? Would that be considered a billiard room, even though it's not?
It's just correct, it's that they can't play pool.
It's silly.
Probably.
A
It's silly.
billiard room, also known as a pool room or snooker room, is a space designated for playing cue sports like pool, snookers, or carom. It typically features billiard tables as the central element along with necessary accessories.
This is a law.
Often, game table seating, and a bar or
Iowa
It's
law?
an ordinance. I would have to look to see.
I bet it has-
Usually we reference the Iowa code if it's.
I bet it went back many years ago.
Right.
I could have referenced Snookums or whatever
But
the
I do
other
know-
game
Yeah,
is.
snooker.
Iowa, we do have a curfew or a regulation as far as minors in any place that serves alcohol after a
Well,
certain time.
that makes sense, but this
As
is
long as
just,
the alcohol revenue exceeds whatever their purpose is.
do you remember that place when we were going up that was across from, Peterson's? That was a,
Gold Farm area, no, that to me would be a billiard room.
but
because that
that's
was
the only people that ever went in there were kids, like, it was literally built for us.
correct.
So,
Wait, what was there?
it was
It was like a game.
pool, I mean, I think they had one
Yeah, they had a
Atari
game
game and
room.
the pool table, and you just hung out, like, it was just literally a hangout place with a pool table.
It didn't last
Remember that
that
at
long,
all?
couple years.
Yeah.
But what was that Mexican restaurant was there? That I remember.
Oh, that gym.
Like Taco Chick?
Like, how would
chip.
that have turned out to be
Jim
open
Stanley
with this
did
ordinance?
chip.
Taco Chick.
I know that
Taco
one.
chip.
I
I
remember
remember
that.
Probably because it didn't serve
And
alcohol.
the
so it didn't
A&W.
do it as
And
a
the
shake.
A&W.
That's
So that's
sad.
why I feel like we just have to define what a billiard room is, like if it is alcohol or did it? Because if somebody were to come tomorrow and say, hey, I'd like to open up this place for kids and kids have expressed interest in pool and billiards, like why would we say no? I mean, right now, we would not be able to allow it.
Well,
So-
but it
so
says,
like this one-
if they keep where they sell beer, liquor,
an
or
arcade?
wine.
So if
So
they're not
if
selling
they're not gonna
alcohol-
get a liquor license, then they could have it and not, this, they wouldn't be in.
Cause I don't remember.
So
the
that
arcade
place
at
probably
the
didn't-
corner.
They probably didn't have, they
Yeah.
probably didn't have a liquor license.
Cause I don't remember them serving alcohol.
Yeah.
I don't think they
Or
did
they're
either.
adults.
It just feels silly that if somebody's gonna, if kids wanna go play pool during the day and it's a bar at night, so what? But, you know,
Yeah,
there's so little to do here for kids that if somebody had a pool table, let them play pool. Yeah,
That's what's funny.
that's my,
I agree.
Is it worth doing anything with it?
Do we-
Especially
Eric, do you
knowing
know?
we need to get this thing done.
no, again, this is just me like
Yeah,
trying to
no, I
understand
know.
but the problem would be if someone served them alcohol, they would be the one in trouble. So, I mean, there's already a law in place that says that you can't serve a minor alcohol.
Yeah,
So-
now they just can't play pool.
So what's your thought, Eric?
Legal
Just leave it
before-
alone? Or is there a
I
rewording?
would Personally, I would leave it alone.
Yeah,
just
okay.
because-
No, I just wanted to understand that I was reading it right.
Yeah,
I mean, minors.
It sounds like it's dumb, but
it's weird.
So if you're serving alcohol, minors gotta leave by 9 PM anyway,
mhm.
so.
But according to this, the way it is now, like they could never even enter the establishment
So then,
at any
like
point. in
Cade
time.
Creek, when they have an event going on, so after 9 o'clock, the kids have to leave, is what you're saying, typically,
Correct. They should not be in there after 9.
after 9 o'clock. Wow,
So as far as the
I've seen
billiard room
kids,
go, well, now, keep
after,
in mind, if they're with their parents.
they are,
We're not.
they're eating pizza, they're eating there, and
However,
Right.
they're bringing
we
Adriana's
may
over
go in
and
and
eating pizza
say,
there.
hey, you need to leave with your child because it's after
Right.
9 PM.
Yeah, I guess I didn't
But
realize
that's
the
a-
9 o'clock rule.
A lot of these
Well, what
are,
if
if
you
they're
need 'em to
drawing
drive you
attention
home?
to themselves.
I'm just
it causes
kidding.
problems.
Just jokes.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I'm still
So what if
trying
like
to
an
remember what
Applebee's
that
wanted
was.
to build here?
What's that?
I said, what if like an Applebee's wanted to build here? You can have your kid in a restaurant that serves alcohol.
Well, that would be, it's gotta be that the percentage, isn't it a percentage of alcohol sales has
Is
to
more
be
than
a
the
certain
food?
number?
More than 50%.
And that's when it's considered.
So they would be
So they'd be
okay.
'cause
See,
it's
Cade
mostly
Creek
food.
doesn't sell
Yeah.
food,
It's mostly
they have
food.
pizzas,
Like
frozen
Cade
pizzas.
Creek is beer, courthouse.
And they have frozen pizza, is what the food is,
That's not
that's
even
it.
50%.
No, I'm just saying,
Right,
that's
it's
the
not
only
worth
food
it.
they, maybe
They've
some
got
chips. Oh, they have
and some
chips.
Mindy's nuts.
So when I read billiard hall or billiard room, I'm thinking of the old billiard room where you walk in, all they have are billiard tables and a bar.
Mhm.
Mhm.
To me,
Right.
that's a billiard room. The bowling alley or where they got a pool table,
And they serve food,
that's not
bar
an issue.
food.
They serve food, there's pool,
Yeah,
that's not a billiard hall.
right.
I
The,
think this was probably really old.
Oh, by far.
So
Wasn't
if
that
someone, I guess
like
the
a-
test is if somebody called you and said, hey, I wanna report a problem at the bowling alley as it was laid out, would you even respond to that?
I would let them know that unfortunately that's nothing we
That
can
doesn't meet the
address
definition.
because it doesn't meet the definitions of what we're forcing. This is before all our time. There used to be a billiard hall on the square. I don't remember which building it was. I don't remember. if it was the north side or
Wasn't there
west
one
side.
down on, didn't Jim Hughes own it?
I believe so.
Yeah, that, I mean,
Um,
that was long,
A long time
it
ago.
was a long time.
So I imagine that's why
Probably in the
this was
70s,
drafted.
when
It
we
would've
first
had to
moved
have
here,
been.
because it was before me,
And
I
don't
agree
quote me
with
that
the
Jim
80s.
Hughes owned it. I don't know. who
Jim
owned it,
Hughes,
but-
didn't he own like wasn't it called the Shamrock? And it was down on,
he had a
Either-
bowling, he had a roller rink.
Well, there was one down at the
I remember
plaza
roller
too.
skating
Wasn't
there.
that
oh yeah.
Hawkeye or something?
I
don't remember
no,
for
this
sure.
one, and I was little. I just remember it being like early, and I swear it was called the Shamrock, and it was either down on Railroad Avenue.
Probably was, because he's Irish, Imogene guy, so could have been called Shamrock.
It was
I
before I
don't
was
remember that one,
even
but-
considering being on city council, so I was not thinking about how this would impact me in 50-some years.
My recommendation would just be leave the billiards because it's kind of a mute point unless somebody opens one and then we can readdress it.
Then you could do an amendment if you needed to. But the 9 o'clock, is that state or is that our code? 9 o'clock?
Well, it's in our code, but I'm pretty sure that's a state.
And that hasn't changed over the years? Okay. Did not know that. 9 o'clock.
Well, the next one, which, chapter 47, park regulations,
Mhm.
that I wanted to bring up. That Christina pointed out, which I thought was a good question, was curfew. It's unlawful for any person to enter said park or to be upon any of the grounds enclosed within the limits of the park between the hours of 10 p.m./dusk and 8:30 a.m.
What are their hours that they post online?
Well, I know people are there all the time before 8:30 a.m.
Way before. I thought it was sunset to
Morning walkers and
sunrise.
stuff. And I talked to, because of your question, I talked to Ron about it. And he said the main reason for putting that in there was mostly the evening one, because there's really no reason for people to be there
Mm-hmm.
past, sundown when it's dark. They don't care as much about before 8:30,
Right?
So-
8:30 just feels late, because I
Yeah,
pass by
it
there
does-
at
it
6
does
in the
feel
morning
late.
and I see people.
So I don't know if that's one that we do want to now like right now, change it to be like sunrise or something instead of 8:30. Just because people are already using it
Yeah,
at sunrise.
right.
I don't know what your thoughts are, Eric, but I
There should
thought,
also be something in there to exempt campers,
exempt campers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, cause they're there 24/7.
because the campgrounds are within the park.
Eric, weren't we having an issue? I'm trying to remember, maybe you'll remember this too, Donnie. Wasn't there something with high school kids meeting in the
Yes.
park early in the morning?
Or late at night,
It
We
was,
had them late at night.
late at night.
I
don't
thought it
remember
was
that.
something
What Ron
early
said
for
was like, it was
some,
like late, they were having a problem with like kids being in there late at night.
Mhm.
So we put lights.
but I thought there was something even
Well,
that
we
was
also
happening in the
Halfway
morning.
down.
Had them
That
set
makes-
the time to where hey, park's closed, you gotta leave. Which we did that for a while because they were doing more just emptying their car trash out later,
Uh-huh.
kind of like they do in the high school parking lot.
For some reason,
Yeah,
I
they were in
thought
the
there
high
was
school
something
parking
in the
lot.
morning too, and that was.
We had some meet there in the morning, but I don't remember that ever being a real issue. It was always the evening that was the problem.
Yeah, that's what-
Maybe it's
that's what
just
Ron
that
said to me too, it was more the evening, the morning one, he said, could probably be adjusted to be more like sunrise or something.
Right,
Um, So I don't know what all your thoughts are. To me, it seemed like this would be an easy one for us to just change
Sunrise
it.
wouldn't be bad because it would adjust,
Right.
automatically
was
adjust.
say
whenever-
daily
Yeah, so
savings
maybe
time.
change that to sunrise.
And we know people are going there already to walk dogs and stuff and run and exercise in the morning around the park and go fishing and things like that.
I agree.
So we could put something in there, right now, like sunrise, and then put exemption, just at the end, like Eric suggested, exemption for registered campers or something like that.
And all shelter reservations now, we require them, right?
Well,
It's a first come, first served.
only for the
The
three
museum does their own.
shelters, yeah.
There's
You
other
could
shelters.
risk, not planning to, you don't have to have a reservation to use it, but, you know, if there's a reservation, you're planning on using it, then you don't get to use it.
And this was long before I was on city council, but I remember that used to be a thing where people would go and stay down there and stay in the shelters to reserve their shelter, and there were issues that happened about how long could people be there because they weren't getting their shelters. Like, and it turned, were you,
I remember that.
Yeah.
like, that was a thing, I'm
I don't
wondering
remember
if
having to
that,
deal with it law enforcement wise, but I remember being a kid staying.
Like,
down
that
there
was-
to reserve the shelter.
and people got upset because there
First
was
come,
no,
first served.
so that's why I'm sitting here
On those
going,
competitive days now, we get calls in advance where people reserve it and they would get.
They're calling March 1st
Yeah, Ron
for the year.
would kick them out, at that time, because you have to, people can reserve it ahead of time. If someone was
Yeah.
doing that, but it was on a date where someone had called ahead and reserved it, they wouldn't get the shelter.
and I'm not trying to make
I've heard
something
of
where
anyone
there's
doing that
nothing
this
there, I'm just trying to think of everything that impacted that, how did we get here? Because I don't wanna
Yeah.
revisit this again and,
Yeah.
oh yeah, now we went back this way and now we
Yeah,
have
but-
fist fights at
Yeah.
shelter number 6B because,
Yeah.
When they're reserved, it's like maybe the day before a notice put up there saying
The
that.
day
Ron
of.
puts it up
The
The morning
The
of,
morning of.
that it puts a sign up. But then there's been a couple incidents where the sign's been ripped off
Oh, yeah.
and somebody tried to, but they can call, they just have to be able to reach the person so they can.
Yeah.
I remember getting calls as administrator and had to call Ron and say
I haven't
there's
got any yet.
somebody, it don't,
Because it's
I had it
mostly
happen
the
once.
weekend,
Yeah,
so.
yep.
So do I need to go down there Friday night and spend the night? So I have it for
Somebody
Saturday?
might kick
No.
you out.
pretty much.
You might get kicked out.
People respect.
There should be signs on there for you. Did you rent all of them?
In general, people
Getting all of
respect
them
the
or just some of them?
Just the one,
Just one?
B?
B, the big
B,
one,
yeah.
yeah. And they should have your sign up that morning,
Okay,
so
yeah,
you should,
I'm
you
just,
should be able,
I'm just teasing.
you should be able to kick them out like
I
that.
just tease them.
Yeah, you gotta camp down there and then you've gotta run from the police when they come to try to get you, after 10 p.m.
Is whatever in there, Christine, I mean, you read that one. Like, does what's in there cover that? Like, if somebody wants to show up at 5 AM to get a shelter that isn't
I didn't see anything in there.
one that could be reserved, do we have language that covers our bases on?
Well, if it's not reserved, it doesn't matter, does it?
No, it doesn't matter.
Because if they're sitting there, as long as it doesn't have a reserve sign on it, they could sit there all day long.
But so let's say somebody shows up again and says, this one is not one that we can reserve, but I want to get it, so I'm gonna sleep on this picnic table tonight.
They would get.
We're saying you can't do that,
We can't
right?
get there before
You'd
6
have to
a.m.
be there
You have to be there
at
at
sunrise.
dusk. I mean, sunrise,
And
yeah.
it'd have to be a foot sprint to the shelter.
Yeah, like the
Fastest
Black
man
Friday
wins,
shopping back
or
in the
woman.
day.
Basically, yeah.
And you're talking about those smaller shelters that we don't reserve. is what you're
Yes,
speaking
that's
of?
what I'm saying.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever had any issues with that.
I haven't heard of any, but maybe we have. I'm sure there's been an issue at one point.
Look, I just don't want to have any of the same issues.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to go.
So if you feel good about it, putting sunrise, people are already going in there at sunrise. I don't think we want to say you can't, because
Yeah.
that's a
And
nice.
it's
time.
pretty, it's pretty down there at
Well, they're
sunrise,
walking,
so
they're
they're walking.
the exercise,
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Walking
We want to
their
encourage
dogs.
that.
and Ron doesn't see any problem with it either.
Yeah.
I asked
Maybe we
him.
could encourage them to pull weeds and mow while they're walking.
Maybe we'll bag.
So add sunrise and then.
We'll even let you in
exemption for
early if you
campers.
wanna.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that. I'll add
And then add
sunrise and
campers.
then-
Registered campers.
Yep.
Still closing at 10?
Still closing at 10 p.m.
Is that good for you, Eric, the close time?
The close time was what Ron cared about.
Yeah,
10 p.m. does it.
You're okay with 10? Because it starts, what time, in the winter, it's getting dark at 7.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I'm just thinking, do we need to
The only
consider
thing
they
you
could
may
be up
put
there
in
in the
there-
dark in the
So the
winter?
amphitheater shows goes past 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
So you may put in there something excluding
events that are past that time for people
approved
to,
events. or
yeah,
something
you might
like
want to say special events, because yours might go best
Dusk to dawn.
for the
By
rewind.
the time the band's done,
Yes.
and you have the band say they play 2 hours, so they play to 9. By the time they get done breaking
And then
all their
clean
stuff down, get everything loaded, you still got people there
Mhm.
cleaning up.
Yep.
It's probably after 10 o'clock before
Yeah,
they're,
so you might want to
actually
say
getting
something
down.
And I'm
about
gonna put some sort of sentence in there also, exemption for
yes, yeah.
Approved essential
approved
events.
events and.
Yep.
Yeah, approved events, because all the amphitheater dates are approved by the city.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
good job.
And we probably already exempt it anyway when they come and ask us.
Because they usually put the hours they're gonna be there.
Yeah, we're approving it.
You're thinking,
Oh, I read ahead.
Do we close those gates at all anymore?
Like your.
I don't
I
know.
don't think he closes the gates anymore.
About the what?
Just in the winter, I think.
Well, they close the one side in the winter.
But they don't close the main gates to go into the park anymore?
I don't think so.
No, there's only one gate there now. The trash truck took out the other gate.
And they never fixed it, even though they had money at one time to fix it. He didn't want to fix it, so they never.
Well, the trash company, or was it our local trash company?
Well, it's a he said, she said, they claim they didn't, so it's up for, just, nobody has proof of really who did it, so there was no claim. What were you gonna say, that you were talking about, you'd read ahead?
Oh, just with the chainsaws,
Oh,
I can be patient, I'll wait.
oh, okay, sorry.
The next one is, so number 17 on that same page, so this says, just if law enforcement is called or utilized on an account, so basically if law enforcement is called on anybody, that person will be requested to leave the park immediately. What if they didn't do anything? It's just somebody that called on them. Like, this doesn't really,
Where are you at? I'm sorry.
Is there 17?
Number 17. Those are two
it doesn't
pages.
necessarily say that they've done anything wrong, it just says that somebody called. So if the
You wanna
police
change
are
it to-
called, then that person has to immediately leave. Not that the police have determined that they've,
Do you want to change it to may be requested to?
May be requested to leave.
Sounds good.
What do you think?
right? Because this is shall be requested immediately.
How about shall be requested immediately leave the park if law enforcement. find
If,
they-
right, like it should feel like law enforcement has determined that they've done something that's worthy of them being told to leave, right?
Agreed.
I feel like that's what you guys would do.
Right.
This just makes the language mirror.
So shall to may would cover that, right?
May, yeah, May. No.
The next one is 25.
Okay, so I just
Oh, sorry.
change that shall to may.
And maybe,
Can we add in there something about if found to be in violation of the,
if asked by law enforcement, right? Because you'd only ask them to go if you determined, if requested by
In violation.
law enforcement.
If found to be in violation or some of what though?
Law enforcement.
If found
If
may
found in
be
violation.
requested to
Yeah.
leave immediately if
City ordinance
found
or
to be
state
in,
law.
Yeah.
I don't know.
if we want to. Just kidding, for those of you listening.
If found to be in violation of.
A city ordinance.
Or state law,
Or disturbance or something
Yeah.
of that nature.
that would be a violation, right?
Yeah.
What do you think, Eric? What did you want?
I'm good either way.
Is Matt weighing in on that? I mean, Matt would probably be able to throw verbiage out
If
really
we go to
quick.
Matt for.
Because the thing is, you want the verbiage to match the actual business practice, right? So like, what would the police do if they showed up? And then that's what we should be putting here.
Yeah, you found an interesting section.
They did.
No vehicle
I think-
repairs
I
of
think-
any kind
Yeah,
in
she
the
had
park.
she had a very interesting section. I think, may be requested, to immediately leave the park, kind of leaves it vague
Okay.
enough, but also covers, like, the police got called on you,
Right.
you've been found to be they came and they evaluated and they did find you to be a disturbance. I think may allows them to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
That
You
allows
can word it
for
that
some
way.
discretion,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
opposed to just because there's a call.
Yeah, and I
you
think
gotta
that's how in practice Eric is doing it. So,
go.
I
Sounds
think
good.
may just covers.
Then 25 was about,
Sorry, and I don't wanna, I mean, we could go into the weeds on these things all day,
Yeah.
right? Any park user being disruptive, the other person shall be requested to immediately leave the park. Okay, so Donnie's in a campsite, two
Right.
doors down playing Motley Crue, and I don't like that.
I call the police because you're disturbing me.
Because I
so now
I
immediately
think
have to
his
leave.
music's,
I'll
That's
change
why I
that
feel like
one-
it
I'll
should be
change
left
that one
up to the
May.
discretion of
Yeah.
law
I'll change
enforcement.
that one to May. Then it's
well,
at the
it's like
discretion.
if it's not at a volume, but it's the message or the wording that is
Yeah.
disturbing to me.
And my
Well,
voice just might annoy you, so you call the police. I mean, people are finicky sometimes,
I know, that's
right?
what I'm
Like,
sitting here going, somebody's gonna say, well, it is disruptive to me. Well,
right. So I think changing it to may gives the police the discretion to make that
And if
decision.
they're in violation of the noise ordinance, then we would.
right,
Mhm.
if it's a simple
Turn it down, we gotta
thing of, I'm sorry that you don't like,
That's probably what you do now, right? Like if you pulled up and somebody had their music blasting at a point that a reasonable person would be disturbed.
no vehicle
So
repairs.
what's on number?
25, I don't recommend raising to 17.
No, I don't either. It just, the fact that it just said it should just be all campers.
Well, that's-
Or we should say that they should be 18 or over, right? Only people who are 18 and older can,
Right,
Got it.
campsite, I would agree with
They have to
that.
be of legal age. But what's this 13, only one children's tent shall be allowed per RV designated site?
Because
We don't allow that, do we? So that
We don't
shouldn't
allow
be,
tent.
we don't allow
Oh, you don't
tents.
allow
No,
that
they
anymore
took
at all?
tents
even the
out.
little kids.
No
the little-
tents, nope, no tents.
No
Well, because
tents
at one
all.
time.
We were having squatters.
Right, we'd have
We
one,
couldn't get them.
one campsite, and you'd have 4 tents on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
So no
No
tents.
tents. They took tents away. The park board changed no tents last year or 2 years ago.
So I should take out.
We need to take tents out. No tents, no tenting.
And did you say that you want?
Except for special events like Radbury, I mean, we have to throw that in there. That's the only time they would allow
Well,
the
and that's
tents.
when you would do a special event. permit,
Exactly,
And
yeah.
you could,
And then they allow
make.
tents.
Yes, sir?
Question, we done a lot of camping. You go out, you rent your site, you've got small kids with you. A lot of people would put up a small tent for their kids to be inside
Maybe that's why they.
during the day
Mhm.
Protect from the sun,
to
right?
protect from the sun.
So then maybe it needs to be a child's tent or kid,
That's what
does
it
it say
says.
kids
Only
tent?
one children's tent shall be
Oh, one
allowed per
children's tent.
RV designated site. So
So maybe we do leave it.
So we need to
from our
make sure
past
that-
experience, we're talking one of those little small,
Like
like
a
one
pop-up
person
tent, not a
pop-up
real
tent.
tent.
Yeah, not a 4-person.
Right.
Okay.
It was for your animals. A lot of people done animals or their
The
kids.
water in there for the dogs.
So you could, if you have a little shade tree over here, you could pop your tent up there, your kids could play or your animal could
But
sit
I
in
think
there.
we need to define what kind, I know you're saying children's
Yeah.
tent, but in my world, some people will take a big tent and say, this is for the kids.
This was for my
Yeah,
kids.
So we
yeah,
need to
no.
make sure it's this design.
Yeah, we had someone earlier this year say that, what was it, that they had was it a toy hall?
The toy hauler, that
toy
was
hauler?
a utility trailer.
But it was really a utility trailer. It wasn't actual, like, made for sleeping in.
And they were trying to put that
They were
in, so we
trying
gotta
to
be
put
real
it down there and we had to-
specific on the children's tent and that it's
Yeah.
a pop-up
Police
tent or,
had to kick them
because
out.
I agree, Donnie, I can see why they would wanna do that, but we need to make sure that's defined as a real child's tent. I don't know if you say pop-up, I don't know
You
how.
check with the park board, because I
You'd
think they did
almost
say
have to
no
have the
tent.
They did say no
dimensions,
tent.
right?
But I think sometimes we have a tendency to over policy things instead of take a step back and say, what are we trying to prevent?
Well, I
We're
don't
trying to
think they
prevent
thought of
adults
this at
from going
all.
and setting up.
Yeah, they were
campsites,
thinking
right?
more of that bottom lot with all those tents
Right.
down there.
But I don't think anyone's intention was to keep a kid from,
Right.
or a dog from being able to get out of the
Right.
sun,
Right.
right? So that's
Yeah.
what we've
Yeah.
done, is basically
No,
take
those people
people's.
took their kids to Cape Keep them out of the sun.
I don't know, maybe we figure out what the average, like, pop-up tent size is and say,
Yeah,
like, no
maybe
bigger than.
Defined as a
Whatever.
child, yeah.
4x6 or whatever
Yeah.
size
And
that
then,
is.
not that the police are gonna be out there with a ruler, but you'll use your
You'll
discretion,
know
you'll
that
know what a
it's-
kid,
If it's got
tent
bluey
looks
on
like
it, you know it's a child's.
yeah, right?
Only bluey tents or
Paw Patrol,
Paw
Mickey
Patrol?
Mouse.
So maybe we
Or
just decided
princess
actually
tents.
that
We have
what's
those.
written in there already is fine. Children's tent.
Well, you need to define the child, that the tent is
Well, the
not.
police officer would go there and ask questions, what it's being used for, and find out pretty quickly.
Well, I think what more of my concern is make sure we're aligned with the park board. Like, I don't think Eric's gonna drive down there and question a tent, but I could see the park going, hey, we said no
No
tents,
tents.
and now you
Yeah.
have a tent. I wanna make sure communication
Mhm.
is
With the-
aligned with the park
Yes,
board, so
yeah,
we're not
yeah.
sending two messages. We just told them, okay, you got
So
your
check with
spot.
the park board on
I
number
think
13.
so.
Maybe check with what their definition of.
Cause their registration says absolutely no.
No
tent
tents. They changed that a year or so ago.
on their papers that they hand out.
I don't think they
But
probably thought of
Donnie
any
makes a good
scenario,
call.
because
You make
that's
a good
totally
point,
logical
though.
that
You make a
somebody
good
Well,
point,
right,
yeah.
and maybe it's just that with one, you get one tent per camper. You know what I mean? Like, again, going back to your point, what are we trying to
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
And if we just said, look, if you're gonna camp and you wanna bring one tent, no bigger than, I'm making up sizes, 8 by 10,
Yeah,
it's one tent per camper, that's it. And keep it pretty simple, but we gotta be in agreement with the
yeah,
park
see
board
what they
on
say.
that.
So maybe talk to the park board.
Okay. And about the adult thing, did you want to add a bullet that says campgrounds can only be rented by someone 18 and older? Is that what you wanted?
I just noticed that it didn't say anywhere in here,
Well,
and then when 25
It's in there,
says
but
all
then you get the
adult campers,
25, yeah.
it pointed out that, it just made me think, well, then can kids?
Maybe after all adult campers and then in parentheses, 18 years plus and older or something, maybe put the age in there.
I think we also want to indicate that you have to be
No, yeah,
18 or
yeah,
over.
must be that. Yeah, do you want to have a bullet that says
Must be
must
18
be 18 or older to rent
to register.
a
Right.
campsite? Doesn't
To
mean
rent.
everyone there has to be 18 or older, but in
Right.
order to
To
register
secure
or
it.
secure the campsite, you
Yep.
have to be 18. Do you want
I
something
think
like
so.
that?
Yep, I like that.
Okay, cool. I think the next one is fireworks.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
just
a
didn't,
good
I know
topic.
there were laws that changed this year and I just didn't know for sure.
And ours are all in compliance with it, because I just had to look it up. The new law this year allows you to shoot off fireworks on the 3rd and the 4th. The 4th until 11 PM, the 3rd until 10 PM, and we already allowed that. And then also, I think New Year's or something, and I think we already allowed that one. too.
Okay, tell me again on the 3rd, what's the date, the end
10
date?
PM.
10 PM.
Yep.
But so the governor didn't make it to 11 then?
No.
On the 4th.
Was that a
it's
misread
11.
I saw? Because I swear I saw
That-
11.
Well, Google was saying.
Oh, that's what you were
11,
saying,
But
was
the
incorrect.
Google AI was wrong.
Okay,
We actually opened up the statute and I sent it to Matt
Okay.
Woods, and he said,
Perfect.
yeah, 10 PM.
okay.
10 PM on the 3rd, 11 PM.
And I just read their article where she was signing it, the news
Yeah,
article. So that was probably from AI then, and I just missed it.
So they're not supposed to be on the 5th?
They
They
can
can
on
do
the
it
They
the
5th.
day
can,
after.
we allow it,
Oh,
but we don't have
okay.
to, allow it on the 5th, but we do.
Okay, I thought so, but you were only talking about the 3rd and 4th. That's
Well, those are the dates that the state,
Oh,
no city can make a law that prohibits.
But we allow it July 1st through the 5th.
Yeah, we allow more time than what the state says you have to.
I guess I missed that. Maybe we need to readdress that. So my house doesn't shake on July 1st.
Eric, what are those fireworks that literally shake your house? There was someone around me that was lighting them off at like
And me.
noon.
They
And
were
I mean,
all
they
over.
were like,
Well, they had
Bombs.
some stuff that were coconut bombs is what they were called, and they were the loudest thing I've ever
were those for sale or people?
Were they
making
selling them here or
Those are
bringing
for
them in
heard.
from,
A dozen for like $50.
Oh.
so they sold them down here?
Yes.
Cause there's no light,
Then there was
there's
some
no
other stuff
firework
that was
that goes off.
almost as loud, and I don't know what they were getting for that, but it was a large firecracker, basically.
So where do we have the list that they cannot have? Where's that? Fireworks, explosive. Didn't we have specifics that they could not?
So here's
All
the
that
deal with that, is
kinda
the
went
fire
away.
marshal goes in and inspects their tent, so everything they were selling was in compliance with the state code.
The state code? Oh,
Because the state
So
kind of
now we're-
opened that up as to what could be shot off in Iowa.
really?
But
Yeah,
people
and-
can get
and
things
our-
from other places or
our
build their
ordinance-
But
homes.
most of those
Our
aren't even
ordinance here
okay
says,
anymore.
it just defines it against state code.
Okay.
They allow the fireworks in our ordinance here. We haven't gone in and added anything different, it's just.
Do we want to keep it the 1st and 2nd then, or do just make it 3rd, 4th, and 5th? Like the state is just 3rd, 4th, and 5th, right?
just 3rd and 4th.
Oh, they,
3rd and 4th.
oh, so do we
So
want to
we-
keep it 1 through 5, or do you guys?
I think,
I don't either.
Really? I
I'd say
kinda
just
do.
4th, personally,
I
just
think
4th.
people like that.
If
I
we have
think
to do
people
3rd.
like it.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
kind
it's gonna
of
be
for
really,
leaving
really
it the
hard for
same.
us to enforce.
Yeah.
Now that it's done
Because-
how it is.
We already go call over the complaints of them. I don't know how we're ever gonna,
Right.
because enforcing it, we can't seize the firework, because the fireworks are legal for them to possess. So all you're doing is citing them for shooting them off. So if you cite them and their court date, to be honest with you, is gonna be 2 weeks from that date, and then it'll be continued because our current magistrates are also part of our city attorney's office, and it gets referred to a different magistrate. You're talking almost 2 months before they get seen by the judge for this citation, that it doesn't stop them from lighting the rest of their fireworks off. I think we need to be reasonable as far as I get nobody necessarily likes the
I don't have
inconvenience,
an issue.
but I mean, it's, for the most part, once in the summer for about a week, week and a half tops.
And it's a good
That's all
fundraising
I'm throwing out there.
source for
You
some of
guys
those
do as you
groups.
wish.
It does, I'm in favor of leaving it. I have no, they're not my favorite thing going all week, but
I'd be in favor of the third, fourth, and fifth, getting rid of the first and second. But that's just me, I don't vote, so I'm just throwing it.
No, we did take our city flyer, I guess what I'll call it, given the dates and times that we could do, and they posted it down at the fireworks tent for us, and I'm not.
We just had
saying-
one this year, right? Just the one in the,
Yeah, he
Yes.
said he'd have 2 again next year.
oh, okay.
We told you that.
Yeah,
So was it just the band this time down there? The
I'm not sure
fundraiser,
who.
with the,
I think it
Eric
was-
is the one,
Eric Mauer is the one that owns the tents.
He owns the tent.
Both tents were his.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's the same owner.
so you don't know if it was the band kids this year? That It was the band kids, okay.
Band fundraiser.
So what's your thought on, Mitch had looked at, like, the city of Omaha's huge, $2,000, but to increase our, not to affect the band's money, but to increase that a little bit just for the trouble.
I don't really have an opinion.
I talked to a guy I work with that does fireworks in Council Bluffs,
Mhm.
and it's $30 for a permit through Council
In
Bluffs.
Council Bluffs is just 30?
And,
Ah,
cause after you sent me that, I asked him the next day
okay,
at
so
work to
Council
see
Bluffs is
how,
30.
How much council
Do you-
bluffs is?
yeah, $30 through Council
Yeah, I
Bluffs.
asked some other cities too, and there's.
Well, that must be where we came up with our $30 then.
Yeah. I asked some other cities too, and theirs are really small. Seems like
Okay.
there's a wide range. And Omaha also limits the number to 40 and then charges that really high fee.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Well, we
I'm
have
not sure
one
if it's
or
worth
two.
it, but
Yeah, it
I
probably
just
isn't
thought
that.
I'd throw it.
Well, when you brought it up, I thought it was worth at least seeing what their opinions are. To maybe do $50 or 100, but not 2,000, of course. That'd be nice, but
There's nothing in here that requires people to pick up their mess from their fireworks.
yeah.
That would be beneficial.
Can we
Yeah.
do something there?
I don't know what you couldn't.
I don't know how we would,
Now, is that something we want to do in this codification or something that we should put on a list to bring up and discuss?
Create
Because-
an ordinance for
New Timber Lane was
cleanup.
covered
Um,
with
that-
traps.
What, under
The day
a nuisance abatement or under the fireworks?
I was gonna say, don't we have something that would already cover that as far as trash in your yard?
Well, it's not in the yard, it's in
No, that's in
public
the street.
streets too. And on top of my house and top of your, everybody's house.
Well, and that's the problem, in my opinion, that's the problem with lighting them off in town.
It is, because you're gonna hit the other
Everybody's so
neighbors'
close.
yards.
And they go so high in the air, if there's any type of wind whatsoever, it's drifting
Oh,
on
yeah.
top of your neighbors.
Yeah.
And all their things.
Mm-hmm.
And how your neighbor has.
Mitch said in his one, how, it was in Arizona, where it
Yeah,
had a
it's in
hole in
Arizona.
his, burned a hole in his roof.
Burned a hole in my shed roof.
Yeah,
Luckily, it's
Oops.
a really junky shed, so I just grabbed a shingle from my garage and nailed over it. Yeah,
yeah.
they show off more fireworks in Arizona.
Well, you've already, in the chapters I had, was more dealing with, it dealt with leaving stuff in the streets.
Okay, so after any event.
My
or something-
pet peeve is grass clippings,
Yes.
but there was glass, nails, anything like that you can't leave.
Yeah.
So is that something through those chapters, we
That you can't
specify
already enforce.
your 4th
I
of
think we
July
used to-
Yeah, that'd be a good
clean
point.
up on, through that? I can't remember.
Yeah, if it's a list of different items, you could
Yeah.
include fireworks.
Include the
include
firework
the-
debris.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that, Donnie.
yeah.
That's a good point.
well, maybe we try to each year put that, market that, right? As long as we're sending out here's when you can shoot them off and hey, be a good neighbor.
Mhm.
Maybe even get groups, the 4-H groups or whoever. Let's have a citywide cleanup and everybody go out and take their,
Mhm.
instead of,
Make people be responsible for themselves.
it'd be
Yeah, wouldn't
nice.
that be
You don't
nice?
need to get
Encourage
this is
it.
just me, you don't need to get a group to go pick up
I-
someone's
Because then people
fireworks
will leave it
because
because they know someone's coming.
what if there's when I was doing trash, what if there's a shell in there that did not go off?
Mhm.
And you have a volunteer going out picking this stuff up and something happens.
Mhm.
Homeowner should be responsible for their own stuff.
I couldn't agree more.
That's,
I agree.
They should.
They should, I agree.
I don't know.
Okay, when we get to Donnie's section, we'll remember to
Yep,
add that
okay,
into the list.
okay.
Awesome. I'm pretty good. I feel like we're making some progress.
Yeah, we're doing
Okay.
it.
Chapter 53, noise control.
So this was more about streamlining, like we call out specific things that can make noise at 7 and other things that can make noise at 7:30 and other things that can't make noise till 8. And some of the loudest things are allowed at 6, like chainsaws, you can do at 6, but you can't
That's a
put your
recent
garbage.
one too, I remember
I
that
have
one.
a question about the chainsaws also.
Mhm.
So is a chainsaw with no blades still considered a chainsaw?
A what?
What?
Chainsaw with no blades still
Okay.
considered a
With
chainsaw?
no blade?
What's the
And I'm
point of
talking
it?
about the hot.
Hillside, yeah.
Oh, I was like,
Oh.
who's got that? They should probably get something that works.
I think it's still
I
considered.
just, yeah, if it's,
Didn't even
if it's
think about
a
that.
chainsaw with a running motor,
It's a chainsaw.
whether it has a blade on it or not.
Yeah.
Well,
that
because
a
this is
chainsaw.
about noise control, so
Yeah.
whether it has a blade or not, it's noise.
So, I mean, that's gonna be an issue for us to enforce up there, just,
Because that's their primary prop.
oh, absolutely, it's one of them.
Can't they just keep it inside?
They can do a lot of things they choose not to do.
Well, but if they don't keep it inside and it's outside, then
Then we're gonna have to start.
we
I
cite
understand.
them, like, you guys, chainsaw's inside. It's an inside toy, it's an inside voice.
Just give them clarification.
Yeah, I know. We ask you to do the impossible.
Yeah, so Christina asked a really good question in the 53.07, right, Christina? Is that what the excluded sounds? Or the
Yes.
included in 53.06 and 53.07? It's sort of like you can start to see it in 53.06 where there's different times. Sounds like it would make it really hard for police officers to enforce or even know what the times are and.
Yeah, and also like the garbage collection folks say have your garbage out by 6, but this says that you can't do it until 7. There's just inconsistencies in just kind of,
They've collected
Marvin
garbage
always
only
picks
home
mine
for as
up
long
at
as I
5.
can remember.
right.
Converse would collect it
Converse
at
came
2
in
in the
middle of the
morning,
night.
3 AM if you get it out the night before. you can get it.
SNL, they got a couple houses right across the street. I'm talking like 4 o'clock. You can hear them out there.
Mhm.
I use that.
well,
And
this isn't, so, well, I guess it wouldn't matter. This is for their companies and for residents, right? So, and again, it's more about just the consistency of like we're saying, you can't take your garbage out till 7, but you can go out with a chainsaw at 6. Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
And the reason for that 6 AM, I remember, is Converse that came in.
What's because of the heat?
Because of the heat, they wanted to get their job done early in the morning before the 100-degree weather hit, so they asked.
Totally get it.
And so they
Well, and
approved
they
it.
avoided school traffic.
And-
They had their trucks
They-
in and out.
Well, this
and-
is the chainsaw, the 6
Oh,
o'clock
this was the
chainsaw,
chainsaw.
not the trucks.
Oh.
This was the chainsaw was 6 AM because he didn't want his workers out there cutting trees when it was hot. So I don't know, what's your thought on that? I just remember that. That's why that.
I have not got any complaints or.
You've never gotten complaints? Okay,
Not
good.
that I'm aware of.
So we have engine repair and testing. You can't make engine sounds until 8 AM.
I like the selling by hawking or barking. Is that still a thing?
That one's good. I don't even know what that is. But
I know, I had to read the
That
whole
back
thing,
in
like,
the
what
1800s?
is that?
That's gonna be your auctioneer.
Favor, oh, okay.
So Al Hughes.
All right,
Al Hughes is barking again, okay.
It just feels like if we have a time of the evening where we say, hey, we should get quiet, and we have a time in the morning where we say, hey, we're gonna allow people to be loud, like, why is it? So musical instruments you can play till 10, but other things you have to be quiet by 7. Like,
The good news is that those injurious or disturbing sounds that are happening because somebody's welfare is at stake, you just can't do those.
You can't.
You can't make those noises like you're gonna have to gag them, because those are
Yeah.
never allowed. You are hurt, keep it quiet.
And this is just an example where you can see where this was done piecemeal and that people made the policies like one at a time and
Right,
didn't
and
really
many
pay
years
attention.
ago.
So
You're
maybe
right.
this one, maybe we should put on a list to
Yes.
revisit, because it seems like this one's gonna take
Yeah.
some time.
Yeah,
Hey, Matt,
Well, and I would like to think that there would be a way to make it just more concise and all-inclusive, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like anything that's,
Maybe it's something where we could research some other places, see what they've streamlined it.
is there a time on like lawn mowing? Is it 7?
I saw something.
So it is listed in here
Lawn
about.
mowing, if you walk outside anytime here, you always hear lawnmowers going.
It
Seriously.
seems like there was a time though that was on there, because people were,
And
when they
leaf
did the 6
blowers,
AM, they.
9, 10 PM at night, and I know who it is. I'm like, really? Gotta do that right now?
Well, they have till
But I
7,
don't-
7 to 10 PM. They can do
Well,
it. Look
they're
at
out there.
5307.
And I
Oh, these are excluded sounds. Never mind.
includes.
Oh, excluded sound, da, da, da. Oh, and then, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's confusing and contradictory.
Yeah, it is. So we probably need to put this on a list to get more specific on these.
Okay, we
Okay.
can do that. Yeah, Christina, you had the interesting one.
You did.
Yeah, mine was not nearly as exciting.
so 57, we've got to get rid of the chickens.
Well, and then, that one.
That
we
just
thought-
says it was repealed.
Yeah, Danny and I thought that maybe we just ask to move up to the beginning that it was repealed.
Oh, right, that was it, because it says
Yeah.
at the very, very end, so you read all this, you're excited, I gotta get my chicken, and the very last line is like, nope, no, you can't.
It's been repealed.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or move that to the beginning,
Yeah. maybe
whatever
we-
the,
Maybe we can move it to the beginning, to say that this has been repealed, I don't know. Or maybe this is one where I asked the codification guy what he thinks the best way to do it is, and we just,
yeah, it just feels like having it at the very end after you've just laid out the entire process for
Yeah.
getting a chicken, and then say, no, you can't do it, is the
Just kidding.
least
From what I've
efficient
seen,
way to
most
do
of
it.
them, when they've been removed, and you can no longer have them, they just get repealed, and
Yeah.
that's it. That's
at the
all.
beginning of it.
Yeah, and then.
Then they know not
It's not
to,
even in there, it's just repealed.
that it was repealed to take it out then, the main.
Correct.
Okay,
So like, if you go look up chicken ordinance, you don't find it, all you find is repealed ordinance, whatever repealed.
Because it's not relevant anymore, right? None of it.
Okay,
That's it.
Unless you're reinstated.
well done.
I don't know if mine's more exciting or I'm just more,
Yeah, yours
Yeah,
is
picky.
definitely more exciting.
you had some of the more exciting ordinances, I would say.
Mhm.
Some people had got the ordinances that just explain what the city clerk is, or mayor, and
Mhm.
those are a little more boring than
Yeah.
fireworks.
Boring.
Billiard rooms.
You guys drive a minivan,
yes.
you,
Mhm.
your tailgate's up. I didn't close it because I didn't know if it was somebody at the Chinese restaurant, they ran in to get food or something.
Oh, okay.
I just want to make sure that
Hmm.
the hatch is up on the map.
Well, I'm done.
Are we done? So we're done for now?
Yeah.
Okay, if you want to go do that, 'cause we'll start up in 5
Thank you so
minutes.
much.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was above, I want to make sure I
We're allowed to get.
Are you gonna turn it on? It's 7 o'clock.
It's just freaky.
I welcome everyone to stand and please say the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. Ask the clerk to take roll call, please.
Duran,
Yes?
Lyons,
Here.
Kate,
Here.
Smithers.
Here. Okay, looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda as printed. Please note, item E is a liquor license special event for Perea pending the Dram Shop. Have you seen anything on the Dram Shop?
I have not.
Okay, and this is for the Friends of Library event that they're having here in July in the next couple of weeks for fundraiser. So if there's any questions on that, but it won't be approved until she gets the proper documentation, so. But
What's
this
the
is,
Dram Shop?
that's the insurance that they have to have for code for the liquor license. So.
I'll make a
there's-
motion
okay.
to approve the consent agenda as printed.
Second,
Lines?
any further discussions? Roll call, please.
Duran,
Yes?
Kate,
Yes.
Smithers,
Yes.
Lyons.
Yes.
Okay. This time we allow visitors, and I see we have none tonight, so we'll move on to item 5 for the committee report.
Can I?
Yes.
I apologize. I think I said as printed. I don't know if you need to change that to say pending Dram Shop approval, since that's not.
Oh, it
It's
is right here,
actually on there.
right here. It's the next one. It's E.
Oh, I was looking.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you're good. You're good. Okay. Thank you. So committee report, admin, for the code.
Yep.
Okay.
So we met during committee and went through the codification process for a couple of the ordinance chapters and made some clarifications, noted some things that we want to revisit later. That's about it.
Okay. Park and Rec, we did not discuss tonight. So then we are going to move on to a motion to approve a special event application. It's a barbecue cook-off. Sounds interesting. Valerie Matthews. Are you Valerie? Come on up to the podium, Valerie. Welcome. We'll let you explain what you're doing.
Well, it started off as a barbecue cook-off, but for permit reasons, everything's kind of morphed and changed, and we want to do I want to do a block party.
A block party now? So
Yeah,
it's-
a summer barbecue block party and have a barbecue food truck.
Okay, somewhere I printed that off. Where's the location of it?
It's the South Walnut Collective Building.
Oh, at the South Walnut Collective Building. So who's the food truck then?
I spoke with recently Barbecue Brothers. They're out of Council Bluffs. They currently don't have a permit for Glenwood. but-
So they would have to get a permit. Okay. Here he is.
So are you just blocking off? What was gonna be, is that Sharp?
Walnut.
Sharp to
Walnut.
Walnut Street, but from Sharp to
The police fire station?
To the fire
the
station?
fire station?
I was
Up in
thinking
the
before the fire station, there's that alley right behind the building. That way I'm not blocking the fire station and then.
Yeah, you couldn't anyway. Definitely would, they would,
Oh, the alley, I'm sorry.
would that work, Matt, where she's talking
It goes right to the alley.
to the alley?
Me, as long as, the only thing that she's probably gonna need is contact all the like the OT and all the businesses that are in that area.
Have you talked to all the businesses?
I wanted to get everything approved here first and then reach out and talk to them to make sure that
Okay.
I was good to go.
Well, and I know part of their approval here would be make sure they're okay with it. So if they have any problems, if we can, I don't know if we can, when is this, July 26th?
Saturday.
Isn't it
Do we have another meeting if we need to wait?
the opinion
The
tree?
opinion tree.
Yeah.
There's something else in that building too, though, isn't there?
I don't know.
Is there an insurance company
Yeah, I
there?
thought there was an insurance company in there.
Oh, there's that
Yeah,
financial, what is it, LPL financial in there
Yeah.
with the opinion
Saturdays?
tribune.
I'm sorry,
What hours is your thing?
noon to 4.
Noon to
Wait for the
4.
insurance company to be open on Saturday.
Noon to 4.
Well, and they're
Okay,
just-
now on here you have 10 to 5 PM. Is that changed?
No, I think it said somewhere on there about setup and takedown, so I was just including.
Oh,
so
so that includes
Put it
setup,
set up and tear down
Yeah.
time.
setup. tear down. We do meet again on July 22nd.
Okay.
So we would ask that you would probably have to talk to all of these.
It's on a Saturday though.
That's what Christina was,
Yeah.
because the opinion tribune wouldn't be,
Oh,
Is
would
it
be
if
open.
Joe shows up, you can ask him here. He's usually
You're
here,
right, you're right, they wouldn't be open.
and I
So
doubt.
there aren't
that,
any other
yeah.
businesses then?
Not anymore.
And there's nothing inside the collective building,
Just me.
just
Just
you,
you.
you're the only business in there now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Business
so
that
that
wasn't
would
there.
not be a problem. But you still would need to talk to him and let him know. Okay. So what do you plan to do for the block party besides the barbecue then? What's the,
Yeah, are the people participating gonna be out in the street? Is that how you're doing it?
Typically what I've done for vendors, if they've been inside, this time around, I guess weather dependent, they might be outside, just to have everybody in one place.
Right.
so bring them out. Okay, would you put tents up or something or,
It would be up to the vendors themselves if they wanted to put tents up.
okay. And what type of vendors are they? What are you having there?
Typically, I have somebody who comes in who sells handmade hats. She designs jewelry, candles. Last one, there was somebody who made leather goods.
Mhm.
Sourdough. There's a local lady who makes sourdough.
I've bought that before. It's very good.
So it's kind of like a little mini farmer's market-ish thing, am I getting?
What we've been doing indoors, 1 to 2 a month. But I just wanted, this one is possibly gonna be my official grand opening with the, City of Commerce as well, so.
Oh, the Chamber of Commerce, you're gonna become a
Yeah,
member?
Chamber
Oh,
of Commerce.
welcome, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Now I get it.
Yeah.
I thought the barbecue contest was all happening out in the street kind of a thing.
Originally, it was gonna be indoors, but I've been going back and forth with Dial on like how we can make it work and what type of permits need to be pulled, and long story short, now it's.
So that barbecue truck will be in that block, and then the vendors will be around it or have it set up. Okay. Okay,
So does that meet, and I'm not asking you, I'm kind of asking everybody, does a food truck there meet is that far enough away from Bucksnort, from Perea, or not
100
Perea,
feet.
from
Isn't there
Adriano's?
For some food places, 100 feet.
Yeah, it's only
yeah,
100 feet.
I think it
Was it
qualifies.
100?
Yeah,
I
think it's
couldn't
100
remember what it
yeah.
was.
I
I was
thought
just
I did.
thinking
You're
what's
good.
there.
I think you're good, other than the fire department cook-off that you might be having down there with the boys when they're in their kitchen. But, yeah, so I think they will be compliance there. Any other questions, council?
It might be worth asking those other, maybe you already have, like Bucksnort and Adriano's, if they want to participate and bring food, since they are right around the corner.
Yeah.
You don't have, just a suggestion, Just in that being a good neighbor type of thing, if they want to put something out in front of their store that day, if people are gonna be out and about walking around.
I'd be more than willing. Biggest thing was I wanted to make sure I wasn't jumping the gun and saying, yeah, let's do this,
Yeah.
and then get told I can't.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I love the idea.
Yeah. Are other vendors, if they were interested, could they contact you, or are you limiting it to the people?
The more the merrier.
They just need to reach out to you and, okay. So then the Barbecue Brothers, they know to pull an application and
Yes.
permit, because they'll have to get inspected. They need to allow enough time to do it, because what's your timeline?
7 days.
7 days, so anything short of that, they might not get approved.
They knew that I was coming in to.
Okay, good deal, good deal. We just don't want anybody left like, oh, I didn't know. Okay. Very good. All right. Well, at this time, she will be talking to the neighbors there. And it's a Saturday, so we don't have to worry about that. So if anybody wants to put a motion in, I will take it.
I'll make a motion to approve a special permit for the Mills County, no. What is it?
It's called
Kindred
Kindred
Collective?
Collection.
Kindred
What's your company?
Kindred Collective.
Kindred
Kindred
Collective.
Collective, yep.
There.
on July 26th.
Okay, second,
Smithers?
any further discussion?
Do we want to specify pending notification of
Yes,
the financial services office?
pending notification of the buildings there.
Notification
Yeah.
to neighbors or whatever.
So she can just email Danny.
And you can let her know,
that
yes.
She talked to him and then.
Yeah.
we'll
So that
accept
city clerk email that you sent me your insurance,
Yeah.
once you notify those businesses around you and if they're okay with it, just email me back.
Let us know who you talked to there and that they're not open and all that good stuff, if there's a conflict. Great. Okay, I'll take a roll call now.
Kate,
Yes.
Smithers,
Yes.
Duran,
Yes?
Lyons.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. It looks like you're all set. Welcome.
Thank you
Very
very
good.
much.
Yeah,
Exciting.
thank you.
Put that on my calendar.
Just so you're aware. Usually.
Okay,
So there you go.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, number 7, Grant Anderson, he cannot be here tonight. He's moving that in 2 weeks.
Yep.
So nothing there.
Mary Beth has.
And Mary Beth also needs to move to the next meeting. so we're
She said she'd let us know when she.
Oh, okay. Move to a later date for
Yeah.
her and move to second meeting in July for Grant. So 7 and 8 are done. So then we'll go to departmental reports. A for the library is vacant, nobody's here, cemetery's not here, park's not here, public works is not here.
He was off today.
He's on vacation still, isn't he? Mr. Johansson.
No shortage of bad choices, other than no report tonight.
Well, God love you. Okay, Mr. Gray has left the building. Where are you? Oh, I see you. Matt, you should sit up here when it's
Matt, we
open.
need to get you a spot up
You need to
here.
be up here.
Right in front of the
Last
podium.
council meeting, the fire department responded to 55 calls for service. And we have,
Fireworks injuries?
no, actually just dumpster fires and setting stuff on the side of the street on fire.
Oh,
We actually had the 4th of July, I believe it was 4 calls in a matter of about 4 minutes. So we were running from one end of town, and then a fire alarm, then a medical, and then 2 fires, so.
and how bad were the little fires or the big fires? I mean, what were they?
Pretty much roasted the inside of the dumpster, I mean, it was going.
Oh, one
pretty good.
did.
And it was up, and we've had one every year, almost up at the old Glenwood Heights in the dumpster. Luckily, they're smart enough that they moved away from the garage, so.
Yeah. Wow.
But, and then we have our guest speaker coming in Saturday for the leadership seminar that there's a few other departments that'll
Mhm.
be sending a few people from throughout the state that will be there. So we will be doing that. And trying to get ready to apply for a couple of other grants on top of everything else, so. It's been kind of busy this last about 4 weeks, so.
Okay.
And that was the last sprinkler party,
What's that?
this past week, the
Yeah,
last
that was
one.
the last one, yeah. They've had, oh, that was probably the biggest one that they've had so far this year was at Northeast.
The last one. Oh, wow.
And there's like, I think there's like 10 or 15, 20 kids there. The other ones, it was like hit or miss.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing that. I'm sure
Yeah.
they appreciated it.
And we may still pull one off here or there. It just kind of depends on what everybody's available.
Do a pop-up one.
See what else is going on over the next couple months,
Okay.
so.
Okay. Mitch, you are next.
Okay. First, I need a motion to approve the ICAP renewal in the amount of $179,476.
Is that a big increase from last year or slightly?
Not a biggie.
Not very big. Okay.
So moved, Smithers?
Second,
Kate's,
any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Smithers,
Yes.
Lyons,
Yes.
Kate's,
yes.
Duran.
Yes.
No June report?
Nope, I don't, I'll have the June financial report for you,
Be
the
ready
next
in
meeting.
June. Okay. Very good.
Bridge update, it's open. Thank you to Jamie and his team for finishing up some
Yes.
little repairs. Without them, the bridge wouldn't be open, so.
That's right. Thank you, Jamie and your
Jamie
guys.
and his team.
I walked across it.
I actually saw it, I went to Brunza for supper and then I was driving around town looking at things and I drove through Lake Park and when I was turning left, lots of high school kids are parking there now to then walk
So they're
across the
running
bridge.
across. Cool.
So they're parking in the grass there to go to their practices now.
Very
So
good.
that's already,
Being
already
used.
relieving some, congestion up there at
Yeah.
the stadium.
Great. So,
I just hope no one drives into the creek.
I hope that too.
Put it out there.
Yeah.
Then trail update, so with the trail grant, I went back and asked the DNR if we had the underpass, could we keep the grant? And they said, no, unfortunately. So we've got to get back that SRT grant for now. He said we could reapply next year for whatever we're rescoping the project to for the
Okay.
SRT grant. And then we need to work with, but we can work with MAPPA to keep the TAP funding. We'll just need to get some more concrete plans on and cost estimates on what it would actually take to put the underpass and then put our loop up there. And then I mentioned that there's some other funding opportunities that we could apply for with the Ray Thomas Trust if we are connecting the park over there because it benefits the park. We might be able to get some funding to help with matching, the grant matching funds from them to make our case to the Ray Thomas Trust.
Yep. That's good.
Which, what was that breakdown? The CRT funds were how much?
SRT,
Yeah, sorry. No, the SRT is what we are losing.
We're losing that. How much
It's
was
the
that?
tap. The
Tap.
tap is what we're, do
Keep
you remember how much that one? I can't remember
One
the
is 40
breakdown.
and one is like 76.
Okay.
So, and there might be some opportunity to, there's opportunity to keep those. They're willing to work with us. Yeah, so. There might even be opportunity to ask for more from them in the future too.
Mhm.
So I think where we're at now is just getting a better estimate of the actual loop there then that we want to put at that end of the bridge
Mhm.
and then the underpass to the park. So, that I can work with Jake on. I can also work with MAPPA on what they need from us to because they have got to be able to comply with all the federal grant guidelines, what information they need from us to get through all the loopholes that are required for those federal grants. And then I need to write a letter to the DNR saying that we are returning the SRT funding at this time because we can't do the project we originally applied for.
Okay.
So we can do that, and then we can apply in the future. They encouraged us to apply in the future because he really liked the project that we're going to do now with the underpass and connecting the bridge and everything. They have no flexibility to change it. So he encouraged us to apply. He said that what
Chances
we
would
want
be
to
good.
do, it checks a lot of boxes for their program, the SRT program. So he did encourage us to apply with the new re-scoped project that we want to do.
Okay.
So that's something we can try to do too.
Okay, very good.
And I think it'd be great, logical next step too, having put in the bridges to then have a trail at the end of the nice bridge that's in there.
Absolutely.
So we can look into that, and he did encourage the city to look into reapplying with our new project.
Thank you.
Then pool update, I did actually just get this afternoon, Jake forwarded me the what I believe is the final Burbach report. So I'll be able to get that to you when I can get back into my email.
Did he forward it on to the attorneys then? And
I forwarded it to the attorneys.
You'll
So
do
they
that.
already have that.
Yeah, they had the draft one.
Yeah, the draft.
And I forwarded them this final one, which just has some I haven't have a chance to read through it all yet. It has updated pictures and stuff.
So what are the next steps with that, Mitch?
So the next steps, later this week, we're going to hear back from the attorneys on, after they've reviewed and go over with us what they believe what we should do next. So they did tell me they would get back to me sometime this week, the attorney. So that's where we're at with the pool. Yeah.
Mitch, do you know, how the library is doing on filling the director vacancy?
I've seen it posted, and I know that they are trying to get applications. And they did recently fill the part-time position that we gave them. So they've added a part-time position. So they've got that added and on the team up there. So now they're just trying to collect applicants. I haven't heard about, they haven't set up any interviews or anything yet because they were going to include the city, some city representatives for the interviews, so.
Okay, so all other positions are full, just the director position?
Except for the director. When did she start? Their new person?
Last week, wasn't it?
Last Monday.
And is the library board just playing a larger role in oversight?
Yes.
or-
And
Yeah,
they're
they've
meeting
been
more
bringing us-
frequently. Okay.
Yeah, they're meeting more frequently.
They're doing great.
Yeah, and they're meeting more frequently, and they've been bringing us the deposits and stuff
And claims.
and claims.
Is it Kate that's the
Kate
president?
and Joe George is helping.
Yeah, but she probably won't have as much time when school starts. 'cause she's
Right, we've got her
school
this
teacher.
summer. She said she had a little more
Yeah,
flexibility.
so hopefully they can find someone.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? Mitch? anything else?
Yeah.
Okay. Item 10 is a community development block grant disaster recovery project. Looking for a motion to approve the pass-through for CDBG funds for Arbor Hills, $70,000.
So moved.
Second,
Kate's,
any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Lyons,
Yes.
Smithers,
Yes.
Ritter,
Yes?
Kate.
yes.
Okay, so at this time, it's 7:25, I'm gonna ask for a motion to go into closed session. According to Iowa Code 21.5(1)(I), to evaluate the professional competency of an individual whose appointment, hiring, performance, or discharge is being considered when necessary to prevent needless or irreparable injury to that individual's reputation and the individual's request for a closed session. So is there a motion?
Smithers?
Second?
Lines.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Kate,
Yes.
Lyons,
Yes.
Doreen,
Yes?
Smithers.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
Isn't this?